which I'm going to lead right into the next question. What is the Audit and Finance Advisory Committee? What is that about?
Well, this has been a committee. There's been a lot of misinformation spread around town about this committee for various reasons, which I can only guess at. This committee came into being about 2.5 years ago. It was an offshoot of something in federal legislation called Sarbanes-Oxley, which was some federal legislation that was designed to improve the financial reporting and honesty of public companies. And one of the items required in Sarbanes-Oxley is an audit committee for all public companies. This, their purpose is to try to advise and make sure that there's openness and honesty and compliance with law within public companies. This law does not apply as yet to things like cities or city trusts like our hospital. However, many large cities are starting to voluntarily put in place things like this Audit Advisory Committee to help them understand financial matters, to shine a spotlight on things that need to be looked at. Our hospital, for example, is voluntarily starting to adopt features of Sarbanes-Oxley to try to make their operation more financially open and honest and clear to everybody. So this committee, in its 2.5 years, has advised the council. They do things like look at audit reports and try to explain them if there are questions. They try to look at the money we're spending and see if this is being done in a way that makes sense. One of the misinformation items has to do, I've heard the rumor that, well, they go down to City Hall and give employees orders. This is bogus. They're an advisory committee. They have no power to give an order to anybody. They're strictly advisory. They can suggest, they can ask for information, but they can't order anybody to do anything. And if you look through their accomplishments in the last couple of years, they've done some very good things for the city of McAlester. I talked with an expert in the field of city finances several months ago. He's worked in McAlester. He probably has more, his firm does more financial audits for cities in Oklahoma than anybody else. He's a nationally recognized expert. And I asked him if we should have this committee in our charter. He said, yes, put it in the charter, but leave the details to ordinance. That's what we've done. We've established it in the charter, but the details such as who would serve on the committee, what are their qualifications, what's the mission of the committee, what are the terms of the committee members, those are all by ordinance, by approval of the council. So it is an arm of the city council and serves at their pleasure. The reason he thought it should be in the charter, and the reason I think it should be in the charter, is if it is put into play by ordinance, a city council in 5 or 10 years, if they don't like the fact that this committee is asking embarrassing questions, or if they're considered a nuisance, that city council could eliminate it in a heartbeat with another ordinance. If it's in the charter, it can only be eliminated by the vote of the people, which I think it's something that's good. It'll help us get our financial house in order, and I would like to see it in the charter.
And that, again, that has been one of the questions, and I think that clearly, will explain that for people, which is important. I guess this is the million-dollar question. How do we know this is good? How do we know this charter is what we, the people of McAlester, need, and it's a good one?
I guess I've already answered that in a way. For one thing, this model charter is the guide that was used on this. It's used by over 3,000 cities across the country as a guide for their charter, including a lot of big cities. We've had a lot of experts from various fields read this and comment on it, and we've made changes to come into line with comments they've made. Most of the people that have reviewed it think it is a very good document. If the voters approve it, it still has to go to review by the governor's office before it's finalized. They review it to make sure everything's squeaky clean and upright. But our commission members, we had one from each ward appointed by his councilman or her councilman. And these people they have no axe to grind, they have no agenda, they just wanted what was best for the city. And I think most of the people that have helped us are of the same mind. The the experts that have looked at it want to do what's best for our city.
So that brings us to a plea for a vote, just basically just to make sure that everyone does vote on that day.
Well, this is an information-only session. And I'm
Exactly.
not going to ask you to vote yea or nay.
No, just to
But
vote.
I want, our last election, we had a very poor turnout in
Right.
McAlester. And I'm hoping that people will get out, that they'll inform themselves about this. Both of these charters are available on the city website. They can look there. Our commission has gone around and probably passed out 1,000 handouts to people with the old and new charter and explanations. We've made packets available up at the library. At City Hall you can get them. We've tried to inform as much as possible. It's hard, and the newspapers had it published, I guess now it'll be 3 times, but it's very difficult to read in the newspaper. But I would say if anybody wants to get more information, they can give me a call and I'll be glad to supply them with it. But the main thing is just exercise your right as an American citizen and go out to vote next Tuesday on May 13th.
And that is our plea to the community, is to be sure and exercise that right. We hope you'll do that. We want to thank the McAlester Regional Health Center for letting us use their studio today, and thank you, Councilman Weldon Smith, for being here and giving out that correct information. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Debbie.
All right.
Appreciate it.